All right, let's talk about a feeling that I'm pretty sure you know well. It's that tension, right? When the very tools that are supposed to make your life easier start feeling like they're the ones in charge. We're talking about techno-stress. And trust me, it's a whole lot more than just a buzzword.
I mean, does this sound familiar? Your phone is just buzzing nonstop. Your inbox is an absolute nightmare. And there's this constant pressure, this need to learn the next new app, the next piece of software, just to keep up. It's like this low-level hum of digital anxiety that's always there. And yeah, it actually has a name.
So to really dig into this, we're not just guessing here. We're actually leaning on a pretty comprehensive research review. This thing pulls together decades of work on this subject to give us a really clear, evidence-based picture of what's going on.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to figure out what techno-stress actually is. Then we'll look at the 5 main things that cause it. After that, we'll see the toll it takes both on our minds and on our jobs. And finally, the big one, what can we even do about it?
All right, first up, it's super important to get this. This isn't some newfangled term for just being tired of your email. No way. Researchers have actually been studying this exact thing for decades, trying to put a name to this very specific, very modern kind of stress.
So get this, the term was actually coined way back in 1984 by a researcher named Broad. He called it a modern adaptation disease. Basically the stress that comes from our struggle to deal with new computer tech. I mean, just think about that for a second. That was 40 years ago. The human cost of the computer revolution was already a thing.
Okay, so fast forward a bit to 1997. Researchers Weil and Rosen took that idea and expanded it. They realized, hey, this isn't just about computers anymore. They sought techno-stress as the bad effects of any kind of technology on, well, our entire lives, our attitudes, how we behave, and our mental health. The whole shebang.
So what's actually causing all this stress? Well, researchers have gone way beyond just a general definition. They've pinpointed 5 very specific triggers, and they call them techno-stressors.
And these 5 really break down that vague feeling of being overwhelmed. First, you've got techno-overload, that feeling that you're being forced to work faster and just do more. Then there's techno-invasion. You know, when the line between work and your personal life gets totally blurry. Third is techno-complexity, that feeling of inadequacy when the tech just gets getting more and more complicated. Then, a big one, techno-insecurity, the constant fear that you're going to be replaced by technology. And finally, techno-uncertainty, just the sheer exhaustion of always having to learn and relearn new systems.
Okay, so we've got the causes down, but what does it actually do to us? What are the consequences? Let's start with what's going on inside, the toll this takes on our minds and our bodies.
And this is where it gets really serious. The research draws a direct line from techno-stress to things like higher life stress, anxiety, and just total emotional burnout. And listen, this is not just in our heads. It shows up physically too. We're talking fatigue, insomnia, headaches, and even chronic back and lumbar pain for being glued to our devices all day. Now, it makes sense that all that internal strain, all that stuff, doesn't just stay inside. It absolutely spills over into our professional lives. And it doesn't just affect us as individuals, it impacts entire organizations. So yeah, what's the toll on our work?
The research shows this really clear and frankly damaging pattern. Techno-stress leads to way lower job satisfaction and it just crushes productivity. I mean, when people are that overwhelmed, their performance drops, communication starts to break down, and that all-important work-life balance, yeah, that just evaporates. And it's no surprise, really, that it all leads to a much higher number of people wanting to quit their jobs.
So, after laying out all the causes and the pretty serious consequences, you've got to ask the most important question, right? Where do we go from here? What can we actually do about all this?
Well, the starting point, according to all this research, is actually pretty simple. It's just awareness. That's it. Before we can even think about solutions or building better habits, we first have to be able to name the problem. Just recognizing those 5 stressors in your own life and understanding the effect they're having on you, that's the first and, honestly, the most essential step.
So we want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. As you go about your day, just ask yourself this one question. Is my technology working for me, or am I working for it? Really think about that, because the answer might just be the first step you take toward making a real change.